What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.
21 Bridges out in the movie, out in theaters now. Kind of, it was a fun movie if you're looking for like a detective kind of a simple premise. Basically, it's you're following what's a Chadwick Boseman is this detective, New York. There's a crime happened, right? There's a robbery of these two guys, tipped off to go steal some drugs. They show up at the place, and turns out to be exponentially more drugs than they anticipated. And in the midst of getting what they get, which they don't get everything, but they get a chunk of it, cops show up. And you find out that these cops aren't so squeaky clean. You don't really know what's happening, but the cops show up, which aren't good, and the criminals have to shoot their way out. So now you have dead cops on your hands, like 5 or 6 cops, and and dirty cops. So they want to keep that hush hush. So it's extra. There's the boys in blue. They always got to. It's their gang. It's basically gang on gang violence. You got the cops and you have the drug dealers, or the two gangs. But Chadwick Boseman doesn't care about any of that. He just wants to find the truth, the justice, and the American way. So they lock down Manhattan, right? Because he's got to figure this out. He's got to catch these people. He calls because the crime happened on Manhattan, New York. And the idea is to close down all 21 bridges that take people, connect that island to the mainland. And the FBI is like, you could do this, but you got till 5 a.m., right? Because that's just everybody. Nobody needs to commute before 5 a.m., I guess, right? Newspapers and bakeries and all that kind of stuff. Nobody's really moving around up until 5, which most of this movie, there's not a lot of people on the streets, let's say. The city is sleeping during this time. But that's the premise. So kind of a basic premise, and it's Chadwick Boseman trying to find out who these criminals are, and during his investigation, as he's, tracking them down, he finds he sees that the cops that were involved, things aren't adding up. Things aren't adding up. It's not making as much sense. Their cover up isn't really passing his bullshit test, and he's realizing that he's the only clean one potentially in this whole thing. And just kind of a fun movie. The premise, it's good acting. The story's whatever. The role totally seems like it was written for it's like a Denzel Washington role, clearly. But Denzel getting a little older, so maybe Chadwick's the new Denzel. He came in, he killed it. I don't know if it was just his style that made me think of Denzel, the writing of the movie maybe. It really seems like a Denzel kind of a role. But Chadwick he killed it. He killed it, and I really enjoyed it. The criminal, part of the story is stupid. They have till this deadline of 5 a.m. So technically, the criminals really just have to not do anything until morning, and then they're fine. Because they're just like the fact that the Chadwick's character is even on their trail at all is just because the criminals, they take it to the person that hired them. And let them know that there's a lot more heat. Also, that there's the cops are in on it clearly. So there's that, and they know that they're gonna try and cover it up. So it's like you kind of feel for the criminals in a way, because they were going to do this small job, ended up being a way bigger job. Now they've killed a bunch of cops. It's just like it went from some jail time potentially to the cops are going to kill you in the streets, because that's just what cops do nowadays. Even if you steal a UPS truck, they will use civilians as human shields in order to murder you, including the UPS driver is what they will do. Because cops are just they're a dirty gang. They're legally able to kill people and get away with it on a regular basis, and it's pretty disgusting. And I feel bad for the criminals in this movie. But if they had just, kind of kept their shit straight and just lay low until 5 a.m., which they may not have known the deadline, but you still, like, if you know that the bridges are closed down, then then there's only one other option: swim or hide, right? And they don't hide. They go to try and get this deal. It's just that part of it's like, okay, whatever. You got to get over that hump to make this premise work of the 5 a.m. deadline. But once you get past that, it's fun. It's a fun movie. There's a little twist. One of the characters that you think is good isn't good, but it's kind of like you kind of see it coming. It's just a decent, solid movie. It's not a movie that I came out of being like, I regret wasting my life watching this movie. I came out of this movie going, that was a fun, 2 hours I spent following this character while he investigates. Because it's fun to see movies like that where it's, you got your private investigator and he's just surrounded by criminals. Just the whole. And I like the movies that show that cops are dirty. I'm sure there's good cops, whatever, blah, blah. Some good cops, it's like, well, they're not arresting the bad cops, they stand up for them. So it's like, it's not my fault that you have murderers in your midst and you do nothing. So that doesn't make you a good cop. Just because you're a cop and you're not murdering doesn't make you a good cop when you're surrounded by murderers. You know what I'm saying? You're covering up for those guys. And, whatever. It's the Brotherhood or whatever it is. But I enjoy a movie that will shit on the police. But yeah, so check it out. It's not a bad one. If it's still in theaters, maybe not, but it'll be streaming and it'll be, decent. There's some fun, chase scenes, shootout scenes, stuff like that. Yeah, and I'm interested to see what Chadwick does next. He's just a good actor. Be interesting to see. What did he do recently here besides this? Of course, Black Panther. Looks like he's got some other movies coming out, but it's been, what did he do before Black Panther? Gods of Egypt. Ugh. Get On Up. Draft Day. 42. Anyway, interesting. Maybe he's the new Denzel. He's good in Black Panther too. Pretty decent movie. But anyway, that's it. 21 Bridges. Go check it out. Decent, fun time at the movie theaters. New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on IGTV, YouTube, and everywhere else podcasts are found. Go buy my artwork over at inspireddisorder.com and save 25% when you use coupon code RTS. Follow me on social media at Ray Taylor. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!